Okay. I'm going to call the meeting to order. Adoption of the agenda, 2.1. We have some additions. I'll let the councillors go first. If you have any additions to the agenda? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Under action item 6.4, Your Worship, the Valemount Community Forest is looking for a resolution
Yes.
from council.
Good. It's not 6.4. And probably 6.5 will be the school district vote.
Yes, and we also added 6.3, which is a request for a letter of support as well
For the learning
center.
Yeah, not learning center. Okay. We have 6.3, which is a support for the Valemount Learning Center. And 6.5 is a letter requesting the school district to have local representation. We have been discussing this at the regional district for quite a few months, and Mackenzie has already met and sent a letter, and the village of McBride, and I would like a resolution. Instead of just writing a letter to the school district, I would like to have a resolution of council that we have local representation on the school district. Most of the school districts in the province do have local representation. Okay, so I would like that added to the agenda, please. Okay? Yes.
One more slight amendment.
Okay.
Item 8.1, Affordable Housing Report from Director of Finance. We made a slight amendment to the report, and so we're going to replace the one that's in there.
Okay. Thank you. Could I have a motion, please, to adopt the agenda as amended? Councillor Torgerson and Blanchette. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 3.1, adoption of the minutes of the September 7th, 2016 special meeting of council. Motion to adopt, please. Blanchette and Torgerson. Are there any errors or omissions? Okay, hearing none. All in favor? Carried. Adoption of the minutes of the September 13, 2016 regular meeting of council. Motion to adopt, please. Okay, so, yes?
Sorry, there is an amendment to those minutes, actually.
Okay.
We had to amend the resolution 32216 regarding the affordable housing. So it was just changed to read a council or staff member will be considered to attend.
Okay, thank you. So, motion please to adopt the minutes of the September 13th, 2016 regular meeting as amended. Torgerson and Blanchette. Any discussion? Councillor Salt.
Also, one other amendment under my council report. It lists me attending Tourism Valemount Committee meeting on September 13th. I was not in attendance at that meeting.
Any further?
That being said.
Did you have something, Councillor Torgerson?
Yeah, it was, I'm sorry, I was at that September 13th tourism meeting.
Okay. So amend that to include Councillor Torgerson. Okay. Any further errors or omissions or amendments? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 3.3, Tourism Valemount minutes of August 9th, 2016. Recommendation that council accepts the minutes of the August 9th, 2016 meeting. Councillor Blanchette and Councillor Torgerson. Are there any corrections or omissions? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 3.4, Tourism Valemount minutes of September 13th, 2016 committee meeting. Recommendation that council accepts the minutes of the September 13, 2016 Tourism Valemount committee meeting for information purposes. Councillors Torgerson and Blanchette. Any discussion or comments? Hearing none. All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 4.1. We have a delegation, Gord Peters and Marion Plummer, regarding a proposed community Christmas tree. Good evening and welcome to the podium.
Good evening. Thank you, Your Worship, and members of council. Marion Plummer is with me today. She wants me to do all the talking now, so she just give me an elbow if I forget it. We're very happy today to be talking a little bit early about Christmas and bringing back something that used to be here in Valemount and maybe expanding on it a little bit. And it's a proposal for a community Christmas tree. This is not a Christmas tree erected by the village of Valemount. This will be a Christmas tree that's participated in by the whole community. And just to give you kind of a little bit of a Christmas feeling, I don't know if you can see that, that's sort of the idea that we're going for. A nice big round tree with lots of lights on it, colorfully decorated. In addition to a large tree, and I'll get to the details in a second, we also want to incorporate something new, and that's something we're calling the Tree of Remembrance. And the Tree of Remembrance will be a smaller tree that people who have lost someone will be able to place something, and we're thinking of something a little bit bigger than this, but this is kind of a sample. It's like a glow-in-the-dark star, and they can hang this on the tree in memory of someone that they lost, and also have a what you call a plaque or a little mention of the names of the people who are providing this in there. And it would be a smaller tree in there to do it. So we just felt that Christmas is a hard time of the year. Many people here lost people, and it's a hard time of the year. And just to be able to honor their memory and to have that in there would be a nice feature in there. We hope to do this, and I'm just going to pass this out. Jeannette?
Of course.
This is just a sketch, not a sketch, a photo of the area that's in question here. And this is, of course, where the tree has been in the past. It was before my time. I got here in 2013, but on the corner in Centennial Park. And as you can see, there's a blue spruce tree there now, which is about 6 feet high. This would be the Tree of Remembrance. And the bigger tree would go in behind the fence, right in Centennial Park, somewhere in behind the brown bench and garbage cans in that area there. This project has the support of the community forest. Their board of directors considered it and are going to provide a large tree. They're going to source a tree for us, they're going to bring it in, and they're going to remove it at the end of the project sometime in January, I would presume.
After Ukrainian Christmas.
Yes, after Ukrainian Christmas. We plan to fundraise on our own through the community for lights and decorations, if any that will be used, and I'll come back to that in a little bit. The Valemount Legion is also in support of this project. They're going to erect the board that they used to have, but they're going to fix it up and make it look nice and pretty now to where they had recognized people. It says Season's Greetings, Merry Christmas on there, and people will be able to have a plaque in there. Some of the proceeds from those sales of those plaques will go towards the decorations for future years, and other projects will be done to raise money for the lights and the decorations. We're going to be seeking the support of the Downtown Business Association, and I'll get to why in a second. The elementary school and the high school, we want them to be involved. And we want as many community organizations and individuals who want to help in this project. It's a completely non-profit, non-group organized event, just to help the community and to make sure that we have it. I feel it's just a nice focal point in the Christmas time to have that tree in there. For the elementary school, what we hope to have them do is along, if you could refer to the picture, along the fence behind the blue spruce tree and the bench there, we want to have a kind of a green Christmas colored fabric in there and have each of the students from the elementary school make their own ribbon, their own Christmas ribbon, and attach it to that screen so they're involved in that. Additionally, what we'd like them to do is to have the elementary school choir come and do Christmas carols on the actual day that it would be lit, and I'll get to that in a moment. From the high school perspective, what we were hoping to do was to have a smaller signboard, which would be for the Tree of Remembrance, and plaques for those people who have purchased the star to go on there in memory of, to have that. We're hoping that that the high school students could actually build this for us and create a project out of it. And a secondary thing, they have I'm not sure if it's even a formal program over there, but they have a music program there where students play guitars and various instruments. And we're hoping that they could come and support the elementary students and do the Christmas carols. So we have that side as well. And we're, of course, open to other ideas for that from both the schools as well. The Junior Rangers, we were hoping to get involved. Every year they do an outdoor bonfire with marshmallow roasts, hot dogs, and hot chocolate. Perhaps that could be in that area as well. I did look around there today, and there's lots of gravel areas outside the parking that would be safe to be able to do that in. I'm hoping for that. So what we were kind of thinking to do here would be to light the tree, decorate it beforehand, but actually have a formal lighting of it on the late night shopping night. So it would be officially turned on, and that night we would have the kids there singing Christmas carols, the hot dogs and the marshmallows roasting, and people could place their stars on the tree as well, and just make it kind of a focal point, sort of the kickoff to the late night shopping, and then from that area people could disperse to the stores that they have, and the carolers could go off and do it. Perhaps Santa comes, and maybe Santa ceremonially lights the tree. Who knows? And we're open to ideas for that in terms of what it is. To get to what we're asking is from the village is number one, permission to put a large tree on that corner piece of property for the Christmas season. So it would be placed, I believe it's the 3rd December this year was the late night shopping. I can't recall the exact date, but it would have to be in place about a week ahead of time to secure it properly and get the lights on so that we could get it done. So from that period until after Ukrainian Christmas, we have it taken down. Permission to use the blue spruce as our tree of remembrance. Have the Village of Valemount. I should also mention that I spoke with the Superintendent of Public Works, Trevor Pelletier, asking him if they had any concerns about this idea or what their experience was in the past. I guess in past experience there had been some damage to some of the decorations, and that's why it was discontinued. He said he loves the idea. They have no problem from the Public Works supporting this concept for it. I asked if we could get power to run for the lights and for the signs. He said yes, there is power in that area. It would be easy to provide in there. Public Works support with perhaps erecting the tree and making sure that it's safe for all in terms of that. As I said, the community forest has offered to bring it in, put it up and take it down, but certainly because it's on village property, we want that cooperation with the Public Works. Permission to erect the Legion board and our Tree of Remembrance board temporarily while the trees are there and decorated during that particular period. And Councillor Blanchette, we're kind of hoping that we could put the Tree of Remembrance sign in front of your Valemount Walks Around the World sign just for those 2 weeks period or whatever it is, because it's the perfect place for it there without bothering you for that. And we understand that the village has a supply of lights and decorations. If they would be willing to either donate them to this nonprofit or group that would be doing this, or to sell them to us at whatever reasonable cost could be done, that would be a kickstart for us to help get this first one off the ground. And then any monies would be put into an account in trust in the CIBC and for future years' decorations. That would be it. Did I miss anything? No.
I think the reason why we're also asking if the village would be interested in either donating or selling or whatever the decorations you had in previous years for the big tree is that if we looked after that big tree, we would take responsibility for it. Public Works wouldn't have to worry about damage and theft and whatever. That was our idea on that.
That's our presentation, Your Worship. If there are any questions, we'd be pleased to entertain them.
Thank you. Do any of council have a question?
Not a question, just a comment.
Okay.
Thank you for this. I think that Christmas is a big time in a small town, and I really like this idea.
Okay. And I'm sure, Mr. Peters, with your partner there, things will go according to plan.
I'm a talker, she's the doer.
Okay.
It's a good team here.
Yeah. Okay. Any other councillors have a question, or Mr. Simmons, do you have any? You, Councillor Salt, have a question?
Thank you very much. I really like the idea. Has there, Just knowing that there have been other contentious issues in the community, I'm just wondering if there's been any concern about any other religious beliefs that don't honor Christmas? If there's any concern of any offense being done to any of those people?
Honestly, it's not something we've considered. The Tree of Remembrance is certainly a non-denominational, non-controversial tree.
Yeah, so I love the idea personally myself. I just know that we've had a few issues in our community that have certainly made people speak up a little more about their own beliefs. So my only concern is that this might raise some more of those concerns and voices as well. But
Okay, thank you. Councillor Torgerson, did you have any questions?
No, at this time, Your Worship.
Okay. Mr. Simmons, do you have any questions?
No, ma'am.
No, not at all. Well, I want to thank you very much for your presentation and for thinking ahead and reminding us that Christmas is just around the corner.
Truly
Okay.
is.
Okay. So, thank you very much. I'll take a motion, please, to receive the delegation information. Okay, Torgerson and Salt, and is there any discussion? Not at this time? Okay, yeah, discussion.
just, is there a time sensitivity for council to make a decision on this body?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought we were done with the questions.
Yeah.
No, Your Worship, not really. We would certainly like as much lead time as possible.
Of course.
To be able to coordinate with the
Okay.
community forest.
Okay, very good. Well, we do have two councillors who are on the community forest, and Mr. Simmons can discuss it with the Public Works Superintendent, and the village will get back to you.
Thank you.
Okay? So all in favor of receipt? Carried. And
Your Worship,
yes,
if I may,
Yes.
we may want to add that to the Public Works Committee meeting agenda.
okay,
Be scheduled for
I'll
next
do
week.
that, yeah.
okay. That's a good idea. Public Works Committee, okay. We don't need a motion for that. Okay. Agenda item 4.2, we have Ms. Riette Kenkel, Valemount Learning Society, regarding a private post-secondary school as delegation. Welcome.
Thank you, Your Worship, Council. The Valemount Learning Society has operated as a nonprofit society in Valemount since 1984, providing a range of services to the community in partnership with many different organizations. We now plan to expand our services by establishing a private nonprofit college, which will be called Valemount College. Over the past 3.5 years, the Valemount Learning Society hired consultants to lead us in a visioning meeting, to conduct a pre-feasibility study, to conduct a market study, and lastly, to complete a business plan. The outcomes of the visioning meeting, the pre-feasibility study, and the market study resulted in a clear picture of what the school would look like. In August of this year, our local contractor presented us with an outstanding business plan, which outlines the business model, product, marketing and sales, competition, management and operations team, financial projections, social mission, risk analysis, and timeline for Valemount College. Partial funding for the feasibility study and the business plan was provided by the organization known as Enterprising Nonprofits, and those funds were issued with that assistance from the Village of Valemount as our sponsor, so we'd like to thank you for that. In total, the Valemount Learning Society received $13,000 from Enterprising Nonprofits, and we have invested over $55,000 towards these studies and the business plan. We believe that we have a strong business plan, and we are excited about the future of this project. So now a little more about the project itself. As a result of our studies, a need was identified for the return of educational programming to support the tourism industry, as well as a need for training in small business and entrepreneurship. The Simp First Nation Band also expressed a need for accessible education opportunities for its members. With a proposed startup date of January 2018, Valemount College will provide unique post-secondary education based on rural mountain themes. It will attract students to Valemount to study, as well as provide education opportunities for local residents, including members of the Simp First Nation. Programs will include multi-month certificate programs in mountain outdoor recreation tourism, First Nations cultural tourism, rural entrepreneurship and small business management, and tourism administration. As well, we plan to offer some shorter-term experiential edutourism programming. I didn't know what edutourism was until I read the business plan, and it's actually education offerings for tourists that are traveling through Valemount or other areas, and it often includes accommodations and meals and other services along with an education piece as part of their tourism experience. So that will attract students as well as offer these programs for local residents. And it will fall into 4 main themes. Back to the land, basics in the mountains, mountain arts, nature in the mountains, and outdoor recreation. The Valemount Learning Society is in the process of incorporating another new society for the purpose of operating Valemount College. A board of directors will oversee the business operation, and an education council will provide input into program and course content. The college will eventually be registered as a BC private career training institution and will be operated as a social enterprise, with the mission of promoting lifelong learning and economic development in the Valemount area. A number of resources already exist in the Valemount area that will support the sustainability of the college, and these include available office and classroom space, instructors, a community bus, and access to much of the required equipment. The college will be marketed as a small, friendly, nature-based alternative to the impersonal world of large urban post-secondary institutions. Our tagline will be Valemount College, big mountains, small classrooms. During the first 2 years of operation, while the college is building its reputation and working towards accreditation with the BC Private Career Training Institute Association, there will be a generous scholarship and bursary program in place to encourage student enrollment. There are currently no colleges in northern British Columbia offering the type of programming that Valemount College will be providing. A full-time college director will be hired to oversee the startup and ongoing operation of the college, with the support of a full-time executive assistant and bookkeeper. The Valemount Learning Society will be seeking funding to assist with the startup costs, and approximately $134,000 will need to be raised. The Valemount Learning Society will be contributing a total of approximately $257,000 towards the startup of this business, with a plan to be financially sustainable through tuition revenue by the 3rd year of operation. Based on projections and using the multiplier effect as outlined in Appendix 1 of the business plan that was provided, the college will provide an annual economic benefit to the community of over $792,000 in the 1st year of operation and over $1.6 million by the 4th year. It will also have created jobs, provided lifelong learning opportunities, attracted students to the Valemount area, and provided a well-trained workforce for the local tourism industry. In March 2013, the Village of Valemount prepared its Integrated Community Sustainability Plan, and I would like to note that Valemount College will help the village to meet some of the desired outcomes as identified under the Education and Culture Strategy area. I appreciate the time to present this information. For more details about this project, including the financial projections and budgets, the business plan has been provided to Mayor and Council for review. If you would like copies of our pre-feasibility study and market study, I have extra copies that I'm happy to leave here with you as well. The Valemount Learning Society is requesting support from the Village of Valemount as we move forward with our plan to establish Valemount College, and a letter has been sent with this request. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm open to answer any questions you might have.
Councillors, do you have any questions of Ms. Kenkel? Yes, Councillor Torgerson.
Thank you very much for the delegation, and my apologies, I just received this today, so I haven't dove right into it. What a marvelous opportunity for continuing education in a lot of different areas. There's job creation, competitive advantages, accreditation, non-profit, so I'm assuming all revenues will be going back into the...
That is correct, yeah.
Thank you. And I too, Your Worship, did not know what edutourism is defined as.
I'm sure none of us did.
Thank you.
Okay. Councillor Salt, do you have a question?
No, just comments. Thank you very much for presenting this. It's nice to see this progressing to this stage. It's been an exciting opportunity and experience to get to this point, so really nice to see.
We're very excited as well.
Yeah. Thank you.
Blanchette, do you have any questions?
Just thank you, and this is a really good, positive step forward for everybody. It's great.
Thank you.
I was going to ask if you've been in touch at all with the College of New Caledonia, because I know that
Yes.
some years back there was relationship between the College of New Caledonia and the Valemount Learning Centre with respect to tourism.
Yes, and there is still an existing relationship with the College of New Caledonia and the Valemount Learning Society. We do business as the Valemount Learning Centre, so it's the same thing. And we do still receive a grant from the College of New Caledonia to provide the educational opportunities that we do now. So we do still have an excellent relationship with them.
Okay.
And we have been in touch with Barbara Old, who's the Dean of Community Education and International Education, and she has expressed verbally that we would be more than welcome to use some of the information from the old Northern Outdoor Recreation and Ecotourism curriculum. So we don't have to necessarily reinvent the wheel for that portion of the program. Also, she did say that she would be willing to take some of our marketing materials overseas when she does some of her overseas visits for her international education program, and that she'd be willing to promote our program.
Okay, that's good. That's excellent. When I read your material, I wondered if the CNC was involved.
Yes, they are.
Good, so I'm glad that they are. Okay, if there are no further questions, thank you very much, Ms. Pinkel. And I'll take a motion from council to receive for information purposes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Torgerson and Salt. All in favor? Carried. Okay, correspondence for action. Canoe Valley Community Association in support of their BC Community Gaming Grant application. And what is council's wish? Yes, councillor?
I move that council considers writing a letter for the CBCA in support of their gaming grant application.
Okay. Seconder? Councillor Blanchette. So moved by Councillor Torgerson and seconded by Councillor Blanchette that the village give a letter of support for their grant application. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. 6.1, or 6.2, sorry. Recommendation of council arising from August 9, 2016 Tourism Valemount Committee meeting. Tourism Valemount recommends that council support staff starting the business plan and the application process for the municipal regional district tax hotel room tax. What is council's wish? Councillor Blanchette and Councillor Salt that council support the staff starting the business plan. Is there any discussion on this? Oh, hearing none, all in favor? Carried. 6.4, we have, I think we've already dealt with 6.3, have we not?
No, you have to do a resolution yet.
Okay, where's my, sorry. I don't have, may I look at your copy? Thank you. Okay, 6.3. We have a request from the Valemount Learning Centre. I'll take a motion, please, to receive it first. Okay. Torgerson and Blanchette. Any discussion under receipt? All in favor? Carried. What is council's wish?
I'll move that we send them a letter of support.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Blanchette and seconded by Councillor Salt that a letter of support be sent from the Village of Valemount to the Valemount Learning Centre in support of their efforts to bring about a private college. Okay? Create.
With a friendly amendment, Your Worship?
Yes?
for those grant applications that are due October 31st, 2016.
Yes, I see that. Okay. All right, so we just want to add that in. Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Okay. Now we have 6.4, Valemount Community Forest. The Valemount Community Forest Board of Directors recommends to the Mayor and Council to resolve to support the time-sensitive application for the BC Rural Dividend Program for the Manufacturing Capacity Due Diligence Vegetation Resource Inventory Project. Council's wish.
I move, Your Worship, that we support that application.
Okay, and seconded by Councillor Salt. Any discussion?
I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that Council may
Does
have.
Council have any questions?
What is the manufacturing capacity due diligence vegetation
It's the
resource?
second stage of their timber supply review.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, good. Councillor Blanchette, anything? Okay, all in favor? Carried. All right. Agenda item 7, reading file.
6.5,
Oh, 6.5.
your school district.
Oh, yes. I should like to, I would entertain a motion, please, to write a letter to the school district in support of the idea of having a school district trustee represent the Robson Valley District. Thank you, Councillor Blanchette and Councillor Salt. As I say, the District of Mackenzie, the villages of McBride and Valemount have already met with some of them and pointed out that most school districts in this province do have local representation. And it isn't because we're unhappy with the elected school district or trustees, but we feel that we would want someone who is familiar with our area. Okay, so any more?
Any challenges and opportunities?
That's right. And all in favor? Carried. Thank you. Agenda item number 7, is there anything that council wishes to bring forward? No motion required. Yes?
I'd like to congratulate Councillors Blanchette and Torgerson on their Local Government Leadership Academy Level 1 certification. Congratulations to both of you getting your paperwork in on time for UVCM this year. And it was nice to see some Village of Valemount people getting those, so congratulations, you two.
Thank you.
Yes, and I understand that both the councillors Salt and Reimer will be getting one too. They just didn't put their papers in on time.
Didn't get our papers in on time.
That's all right. We, when this certification arrives, we'll have a little congratulatory celebration here. Okay. So if there's nothing further, we'll go on to administrative reports. Affordable housing.
Okay, this is the amended one.
Okay. Okay, I've got the amended one. All right. Recommendation that council select a council or staff member to attend the Ready, Set, Build online course with a face-to-face session being held in Richmond, BC, November 23rd, 2016, or postpone the attendance of the Ready, Set, Build course to a future date. What is council's wish?
Do we have any staff members that are willing to take this course, knowing that it's a 6-week online first, then the meeting in November?
We could inquire if any staff.
Yeah, your worship, they're pretty busy.
Yeah, they're busy for now. But we could inquire if any of them, and it's a 6-week course, but how many hours per day?
I'm just saying that has to be added into our,
Okay.
to everybody's already busy.
Okay, okay. We can make inquiries as to which staff member would be interested. And I would refer that to Mr. Simmons.
Will do.
Okay?
Do you need a motion for that, Your Worship, to refer to the CAO?
Yes, I think so.
I'll move.
Okay, moved by Councillor Torgerson, seconded by Councillor Blanchette, that this be referred to Mr. Simmons. to discuss with staff and see if there's any interest. Okay? Any further discussion on this? All in favor? Carried. 8.2, proposed development variance permit, 1185 9th Avenue. And we have a recommendation that is quite lengthy, that council authorizes staff to issue development variance permit 0416 for the property located at 1185 9th Avenue, legally described as, and the description is there, in order to relax the minimum setback requirement of an accessory building from the rear parcel line in the single-family residential schedule of the Village of Valemount zoning bylaw number 610/2007 from 3 meters to 1 meter, subject to feedback received from the public. What is council's?
Did we hear anything from the public?
Yes, Councillor Salt.
Are there any concerns from our planner, Mr. Simmons?
No concerns, Your Worship.
I'll move that we authorize to issue that development variance permit for that property described in that description.
You don't want to read it all?
I'm good.
And that's seconded by Councillor Salt. Any discussion? No questions? All in favor? Carried. Agenda item 8.3, proposed development variance permit, Dogwood Street subdivision. Recommendation that council authorizes staff to prepare development variance permit 0516 for the property legally described as Lot A, District Lot 7355, Caribou District Plan, EPP 61378, to relax the maximum cul-de-sac street length regulation under the subdivision and development servicing bylaw number 450, 1998, and 2, to notify the public of council's intention to consider final approval of the permit at the regular council meeting of October 25th, 2016, subject to feedback received by adjacent property owners. Council's wish. Councillor Blanchette moved and seconded by Councillor Salt. Okay. Any discussion or questions of the...
Is this both resolutions in one vote? Okay.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. 8.4, official community plan review. Recommendation that the report be received. Following options are presented to council. So I'll take a motion, please, to receive the report. Okay, Salt and Torgerson. All right, we have 2 options there. That a complete rewrite of the Village of Valemount official community plan is desired. That staff be directed to initiate a request for proposals for a new community plan as per the Village of Valemount purchasing policy, or option 2, that the current Village of Valemount official community plan should be reviewed through a housekeeping type amendment bylaw, and that staff be directed to initiate this process, keeping council advised of progress. What is council's wish? And do you have any questions of Mr. Simmons before making your decision or making your motion? So first of all, I'm going to ask for a receipt for the report, please. Blanchette and Salt. All in favor of receipt? Carried. Okay, what is council's wish?
Mr. Administrator, can you kind of verbalize option 1 and option 2?
Sure. Your Worship, you had an approach from a private firm a number of months ago that described what a complete rewrite of a community plan would be. It's fairly extensive and reasonably costly, but coming out of it with a firm such as the firms that are out there, you'll get a very nice product. It would guide you into the future quite well. However, from my own review of the plan, first off, there's nothing that says what a review constitutes, and there's nothing that says you have to review a plan. So I'm looking at the current plan, which was created about the time that the Canoe Mountain Resort proposal was equal to the Valemount Glacier Destination Resort proposal. And the plan basically was developing Valemount with the concept of a resort on the outskirts, and the potential for affordable housing, need for a variety of property types, need for more recreational stuff within the village, need for more highway commercial. And the plan created at that time fits right now, in my observation, with where we are. over the 10 years the current plan has been in place, there have been 4 community plan amendments only. 5 if you count the greenhouse gas one, which was a legislated requirement. Other than that, there were 4 very small site-specific amendments. So that gives me a comfort in saying that the meat and potatoes of the current plan are quite good at the present time. And if the Valemount Glacier Destination Resort proceeds in 3 or 4 years, I would suggest that might be the time to rewrite and do a big review, because we don't know what's going to come there now, or at that time. We got a pretty good idea where we're sitting at the present time, and so I guess that's why both options are before council, but I would suggest that the current plan is in not bad shape for now. And it's up to council's direction. If we go out to the full rewrite, I have to support the going through a request for proposals as per your policy. Your worship.
Thank you. Does anybody, any of the councillors, do any of you have any questions, or? Councillor Salt.
I think if what's in place is still really sufficient, and we don't need to spend that kind of money at this time, but we could, save on our annual budget this year and continue budgeting for in a future 3-5 years. I would suggest we do that. I know our zoning bylaw is the one that's required more work than the OCP, and you made some very valid points saying that not a whole lot has changed since the last one, and the meat and potatoes is still there, so I support option number 2.
Okay, so moved by Councillor Salt and seconded by Councillor Blanchette, that option 2 be implemented. And I also agree. I know that at one time, I don't know if it's still in the legislation, the local government legislation, but one had to do a complete OCP review every so many years, and it cost a lot of money. Okay, and as Mr. Simmons pointed out, there aren't that many changes here since 2006. And so a deferment, I think, is prudent. Councillor Torgerson, do you have a comment?
No, I just thank the administrator for the verbal report.
Okay, thank you. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor of option 2? Carried. Agenda 8.5, Trans Mountain Pipeline Agreement. Recommendation that this report be received and that the mayor and CAO be directed to execute the agreement with Trans Mountain Pipeline ULC. Motion moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Torgerson, and you're moving the recommendation. Are there any questions or discussion? Yes, Councillor.
Your worship, for the Mr. Administrator, if I may, that's just that triangle along the right-of-way. That doesn't affect it.
Piece to the east of the old airport.
And it doesn't affect the old airport. Okay, thank you.
Okay. All in favor? Carried. .6 Visitor Information Center Request for Proposals. Recommendation that council approve staff to advertise the RFP as presented to council, or approve staff to advertise the RFP as presented to council with changes recommended by council and forming part of this resolution, or 3, reviews the information center operations in more depth at a special council meeting, date to be set by council and forming part of this resolution. What is council's wish? Councillor Blanchette.
I would move number 1.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Torgerson. That council approves staff to advertise the request for proposal as presented to council. Any discussion? All in favor? Carried. .7 Accounts payable report. recommendation that council accepts the September 2016 accounts payable for information purposes. Blanchette and Torgerson. Are there any questions, comments?
One,
Yes.
Your Worship, if I may. We've got a payout to the Valemount Ski Society for $14.49 and 1 cent for the welcome event. Did we pay for that, or did the Ski Society pay for that?
It was my understanding that the Ski Society paid for that it was their effort.
Okay.
So I don't understand what,
Perhaps your Director of Finance.
Director of Finance, Ms. McNee?
Looking at that.
Last page.
I will double check that from where that came from.
Thank you.
Yes, it was, thank you for bringing that forward. I had that asterisk, and I just, was our understanding that the Valemount Ski Society paid for it. Okay. Okay. Agenda item,
Did you vote on that?
all in favor of receipt? Carried. Agenda item 8.8, proposed temporary use permit, 1075 4th Avenue. Recommendation that council gives initial approval of temporary use permit to allow a vacation rental as a permitted use at 1075 Avenue?
Sorry, that should be Fourth Avenue.
Okay. All right, and direct staff to notify surrounding property owners and arrange a public hearing, or that council denies the temporary use permit. What is council's wish? Councillor
Receive and
Torgerson.
open for discussion, Your Worship.
Yes? A seconder, please, for receiving. Councillor Blanchette. Okay.
The lots described on 4th Avenue in that area are not huge. And when I sat as a citizen on the advisory planning commission for council of the day, we were empowered to review this particular section of the business bylaw. And one of the resounding repeats in discussion was available parking space.
Okay.
And that was why the recommendation then went to the larger lots, specifically in R1. That, you know, the 100-foot units, so trailers and trucks and snowmobiles and would be off the street and well back from any setbacks. These are pretty much, and Mr. Simmons, correct me if I'm wrong, these lots on 4th are approximately half the size of the 1,500 square meters. One of the other, back in the report itself, the other recommendation, or the guideline suggests that you have one additional dust-free parking space to be provided on the property for every 2 bed units. Again, we're going back to half the size of the already regulated short-term vacation rentals. I just wanted to highlight that for council.
I got those too.
Any further comments? Yes, Councillor Blanchette?
I drove down 4th and looked at this lot here, and there's already cars all over the street already. So this is going to be an issue.
Any further discussion? Okay, I'll take a vote on receipt. All in favor of receipt? Carried. And which recommendation does council wish to move?
Question for the
Councillor
administrator.
Yes.
You can always revoke the business license after a period of time, no?
You have 2 options with a temporary use permit and a business license. You can revoke either and or both. This particular report brings it onto the table for you. Next council meeting, you will have the opportunity to debate it again. It won't be issued until you decide, if you choose option 1.
Because it goes to a public hearing, not just notice, it goes to an actual public hearing.
That's right. So it's a bit more formal.
Yeah.
Okay, Councillor
I
Blanchette?
just wanted to verify the public hearing.
It will be advertised, sorry, Your Worship, it will be advertised in the paper, and notices will be going out if you authorize us to start the process. So.
Yes, Councillor Salt.
So we do still have an advisory planning commission, correct? Because isn't that a requirement to have one? I believe. Has that changed? Okay.
There has been.
There has been a requirement.
One time, I thought it was in the...
It's encouraged.
Yeah.
Your Worship.
That's why. So, and you said that they had addressed these size of properties. Yeah. So I just wanted to kind of clarify that again. So I think because we will have the opportunity to have public feedback and a final decision can be made at that time, that we could let it go to that stage and explore it and investigate a little bit further.
So you're recommending, are you moving number 1?
Yes, the
Recommendation
council
1?
gives initial approval of temporary use permit 0116.
And to notify surrounding property owners and arrange a public hearing?
Yes.
Okay, so, and that's seconded by Councillor Blanchette. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda 8.9, North Central Local Government Association Conference. We have a recommendation that council selects the following to attend NCLGA conference in Terrace, May 3rd to 5th. Councillors' names to form part of this resolution. I should like to say to council that it's not necessary for councillors at this time to commit to attending this conference. If we include an amount in the budget for councillors to attend, but this is not until May of next year, it's somewhat difficult to say I'm going to attend. Okay?
Can we just book rooms and then at a later date?
That's right. Yes. Yes. Okay.
I think that's generally what has happened, is that it's been so that rooms can get booked early enough, because they do get booked up quickly.
That's right.
And then we usually have enough of a cancellation time frame to confirm, because I know there's been times where I've said, yes, I wish to attend, but then at the last minute, or near the point where we can cancel and still get our refund, I've done so.
Okay. So I should like to change that recommendation. Yes,
Councillor Torgerson?
Councillor?
You need not book a room for me.
Okay. Well, I'm, as a past president and life member, I'm obligated to attend, but at least they pay my registration. So, okay. All right. So I should like to just ask for a motion that the books or the rooms be booked and that the amounts be included in the budget and it can just be transferred to, if it's not spent, it's not spent?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So could I have a motion on that, please? Blanchette and Salt. Do you want us to reword that motion, or are you clear? You're good, okay. All in favor? Carried. Agenda 8.10, subdivision application, 416, request for waiver of frontage requirement. Okay, recommendations that the report be received and that a waiver of the minimum 10% frontage rule be granted to 107-2223 BC Limited for lots 10, 11, 12, 13 within their proposed 21 lot subdivision in Lot A. What is council's wish? Councillor Blanchette?
I'll move 1 and 2.
Okay, and seconded by Councillor Torgerson. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.1, Village of Valemount bylaw notice enforcement and adjudication amendment bylaw number 750, 2016. Recommendation that council approves final reading and adoption of Village of Valemount bylaw notice enforcement and adjudication amendment bylaw number 750, 2016. Councillor Torgerson and Councillor Salt, is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.2, Municipal Emergency Program Regulatory Bylaw number 757, 2016. Recommendation that council approves final reading and adoption of the Village of Valemount Emergency Program Regulatory Bylaw number 757, 2016, Blanchette and Salt. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.3, Tax Exempt Property Bylaw number 758, 2016. Recommendation that council approves third reading of the Tax Exempt Property Bylaw number 758, 2016. Moved by Councillor Blanchette, seconded by Councillor Torgerson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 10.4, Water Supply and Regulations Amendment Bylaw number 759, 2016. Recommendation that council approves final reading and adoption of Village of Valemount Water Supply and Regulations Amendment Bylaw number 759, 2016. Blanchette and Torgerson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Carried. Okay, council reports, 11.1. I shall start with Councillor Blanchette.
On the 15th, I had a planning session. I had a personal planning session with Miles Bruns from the ministry and with Silvio Gislombardi. The rest of council was on the following Monday. It was very productive, very interesting. And then I attended UBCM the last week of September. My report will follow next council meeting. And I think it was a good week. It's a busy week, but it's an interesting week.
Thank you, Councillor Blanchette. Councillor Salt.
Oh goodness, I wasn't very good with organizing and keeping track of everything, but I believe on Thursday the 15th, we had an emergency management committee meeting with Administrator Simmons to discuss our next steps and follow up on that. Then I had the planning session with Miles Bruns and Minister Bond, strategic planning for the village. And also on Monday the 19th was the welcome event by Valemount Glacier Destinations. Very well attended, very nice evening. And yes, we'll have to make sure and check that accounts payable to find out what that was about, whether it was Tourism Valemount or some other way that was. And then the following week, the 26th through to the 30th, we were in Victoria attending UBCM. Another crazy busy week. I'll have a more well-written report for on the next agenda, just so that the public can see a little more detail as to what all we attended. But I think we had some good minister meetings. Felt quite positive about those, and some very good sessions, and some other sessions that sometimes you go, not really applicable for us, so you try and find another one that's more applicable, but did attend some very interesting workshops and sessions. So,
thank you. Councillor Torgerson.
The 15th, I joined Councillor Salt and Administrator Simmons on for debrief of the Emergency Management Committee. On the 17th, I met with an economics class from UNBC under the tutelage of Professor Charles Scott, and we had a bit of a tour. On the 19th was a planning session with Minister Bond and Council. We had the welcome event later that evening for the VGDR. At UBCM, again, I'll join Councillors Salt and Blanchette in formulating a better report for next agenda. That concludes my report.
Thank you very much, Councillor Torgerson. So I attended the same meetings with Minister Bond and Miles Bruns, as well as the Valemount Glacier Destination celebration on the evening of the 19th. I believe that Mr. Gislamberti told me there were 84 people present. Oh, yes. So, with respect to UBCM, I will keep it brief. On the Sunday, I did take the Fort McMurray tar sands tour, and that was financed totally by the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers. It was a 17-hour day. It was very busy, and we saw and learned a lot. And it wasn't just mayors and regional district chairs that were on the tour. There was also representation from Geoscience BC, from the West Coast Marine Response Corporation, a representation from there, as well as Syncrude and ConocoPhillips and Trans Mountain, and I need to find out who COSIA is. And also Clear Seas. And there again, I'm not quite sure, so I'm going to be looking that up. But it was very informative, it was educational, it was very interesting, and what we see in reports from the movie stars that go there and the rock stars, we saw none of that. And we had a very long tour. And as I say, I felt quite good about West Coast Marine Response Corporation and Geoscience BC being there, because they too would not have been satisfied with the tour if they saw anything wrong. Okay? And for interests of council, we hear so much opposition through the media that I should like to suggest to council that I would invite a senior executive of the Canadian Association of Petroleum Producers to come to a council meeting and give us a presentation, 20 minutes or whatever, so that when decisions have to be made, that there are two sides to every issue. And it has always been important to me that council make a decision as an informed decision, not just listening to one side. So that was a very busy tour, and as I say, a 17-hour day was a long day. And at UBCM on the following day, there was a mayor's caucus, and it was very well attended. I'm sure there must have been about 75 people there. And making a presentation on physician recruitment and retention was Dr. Ray Markham from Valemount. So I was very proud that he was invited and that he was there to give a very good presentation. It was extremely well received. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, and because of that, I missed the couple of hours of the Resort Municipality Initiative. But I thought with Dr. Markham there, and he emailed me that he was coming, I felt it was obligatory that I should be there. And I did attend the meetings with council with respect to Minister Bill Bennett and Minister Steve Thompson and Minister Stone. Now, Councillor Salt will give a report at the next meeting regarding an issue up north here by Loseth Road, is it? Okay. But I just wanted to say that with respect to Minister Stone, my concern was that from the Alberta border to Tijon, there need to be more passing lanes. Sure, we would like to have a 4-lane highway, but there need to be more passing lanes, and accidents occur, and there is no cell service. And my daughter saw one last December. She's a first responder in Regina, and she couldn't get 911 when she saw a car go over the side of the road. Yeah. So we need to have remedial safety there, as well as between McBride and Prince George, wherever the sun is unable to touch or shine on the roads because of trees on the south side, that's where the buildup of snow and ice and danger occurs. And I have seen many large semis tipped over on the side because of the buildup of ice. And I don't know whether it would take 20 feet of tree removal. Where there's a hillside, I know they can't remove it, but I'm glad that the minister received it and they will consider it. And so I'm going to, Councillor Torgerson will want to report with the meetings with Mr. Thompson, Minister Thompson, and Minister Bennett.
I will indeed.
I will leave that to you. Okay. And I think that's all that I want to say at this time. Thank you. Motion to receive the verbal reports. Blanchette and Salt, all in favor? Carried. Agenda item 13.1, outstanding council resolutions. Motion that staff recommendation is that council accepts the list of outstanding previous council resolutions. Blanchette and Torgerson, all in favor? Carried. And 15.1, public comments on items considered by council as part of the approved agenda this evening. Is there anybody who wishes to make a public comment? Nope. Okay. So, agenda item 16.1, notice to proceed to an in-camera meeting. Recommendation that council proceed to an in-camera council meeting for consideration of one item for section 90.1 C and G of the Community Charter to discuss matters related to labor relations and litigation or potential affecting the municipality. Torgerson and Salt, all in favor? Carried. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.